Hello, everybody. It's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Rule the Waves for our Confederate Let's Play series. Rule the Waves, for those of you who may be unfamiliar, is a game which puts you in charge of a navy during the sort of naval arms race during the dreadnought period, basically just before the dreadnought from 1900 all the way to the year 1925. You essentially take on the role of Jackie Fisher or some sort of similar figure in another navy, where you're in charge of designing and building ships, managing your navy, and if it comes to it, fighting naval battles. Everybody, this is going to be, I can't even speak. We are currently in the middle of a Confederate series, which the game allows you to play as a hypothetical Confederate state, as if we won independence. We're playing as the character THG Jr., which sort of represents the son of the character who won Confederate independence in one of our previous series, Ultimate General Civil War. And we're going to be, again, kind of trying to revitalize our Navy in this episode. So, we're really kind of behind, frankly. I'm actually going to go ahead and save this ship, and then we'll come back to it because I just designed it kind of quickly before the stream, and I really like it. So we'll go and look at it in a moment. For the time being, here's the Confederate Navy. If we actually take a look at the almanac here, we'll see the Confederate Navy has 0 battle cruisers, 8 traditional pre-dreadnought battleships with 2 building, 3 heavy cruisers, 22 light cruisers, 16 destroyers, 12 minesweepers, and 50 submarines. So we've got the largest submarine fleet by far, but we have to because our battle fleet is so small. We've got 9 fewer battleships than our nearest neighbor, the United States, but the dreadnought, that revolutionary design, has come into service, and that actually puts us even further behind because we only have 1 dreadnought battleship with 1 building. The Americans have 5 with 2 building and 4 battle cruisers with 2 battle cruisers building. We don't have a single battle cruiser yet. We're actually, surprisingly enough, less far behind the Royal Navy. Perhaps because they had to spend vast sums in a war against us, perhaps because they lost New Brunswick and also a Caribbean island to the Confederacy due to a war that was fought a while ago. Maybe the British are a little bit weaker. Their naval budget certainly doesn't reflect it. They have the largest naval budget, and yet they have fewer battleships than the United States. They only have 4 with 1 building. They have 4 battle cruisers, which is equal to the United States, but they have 4 buildings, so they'll be ahead of the U.S. in battle cruisers before too long. They'll still be trailing in actual dreadnought battleships. France, on the other hand, is, at least in terms of battleships, probably the least well-off of the European great powers. They only have 1 battleship with 1 building, similar to us, similar displacements as well. However, they have 4 battle cruisers already in service, so again, in that sense, they vastly outstrip our own power. Russia, on the other hand, 3 battleships, 1 building, no battle cruisers in service, but they're building 5. The Japanese, the Imperial Japanese Empire, who we have an alliance with, has 1 battleship building and 2 battle cruisers building. They're the only power without anything yet in service. And then the Imperial German Navy, 2 battleships, 2 building, 3 battle cruisers, 3 building. So again, the Confederate States is far behind everybody else. In fact, our naval budget is the second smallest currently. We're just coming out of a war with France, which somehow we won. This was before most of their battle cruisers were in service, but we won several cruiser actions and then accepted a negotiated settlement, which I guess gave us some sort of concessions, but didn't really do anything else. I mean, we sank 3 heavy cruisers and 2 light cruisers more or less without loss. I guess we did lose a few destroyers in this 1902 conflict. The 1899 losses, or these earlier losses, were from a war with Great Britain. Actually, that's the build date, not the sink date. So I'm not really sure what was lost when. In any event, we just came out of this war with France. We're in reasonably good shape. Tensions are low across the board, which means our naval budget is somewhat limited. We have a largely obsolete fleet. You see a lot of obsolete light cruisers here, although we did just commission 10 Milledgeville light cruisers, which are our newest ship. They were a 1905 design, which came into service during the war, but we staggered the build so that they were built out over several years. We have a destroyer, which was designed in early 1900s, the A.P. Borman class, which is that's our newest destroyer class. And the newest vessels in the Confederate States Navy are a series of minesweepers. Now, if you're watching this live on Twitch right now, I am doing a midday stream. Well, actually, I guess it's an early stream. So I haven't, generally I stream way late in the night, usually around 11 o'clock Central Standard Time to somewhere in the 2 o'clock range. Because of Memorial Day weekend, I decided to take Friday off from work and figured, hey, why not do a short little stream? I've got some things going on around noon and then probably a longer stream in the afternoon. I don't know if it'll be Rule the Waves or something else, but we'll see. With that being said, that's the state of the Confederate Navy today. We also have 3 ships under construction. I've half-toyed scrapping the THG class. These are a pre-dreadnought class battleship that are very slow, 4 12-inch guns, but they have 10 10-inchers, which makes me think they might be useful in some way, kind of acting as slow cruisers. We also have one more Pride of the South battleship building, but that's about it. We've got nearly $2 million in the bank, nearly $2 million additional funding just sitting every month, so a $2 million surplus. And then we've got this new battleship, which we just designed. If we take a look at the THG Jr class, let's go ahead and load this class of warship. THG Jr, which is funny that it's named after me, given that it's a more powerful battleship than the THG. A little bit of a weird design. Right now, my technology only allows me to have super-firing turrets in the rear of the ship. It doesn't allow me to have forward super-firing turrets. We can have triple turrets. We can have up to 13-inch guns, but the 13 and 12-inch guns have a -1 quality, so they're kind of crappy guns in any event. So what I decided to do was, rather than stack all these wing turrets to kind of give us double batteries or overweigh the ship with 12-inch guns, I built the largest possible ship I can build in local yards, which is 26,000 tons. I went heavy on the armor, so armor is sort of my design philosophy in this playthrough, as armor being the most important, guns being the second, and speed being the third. So armor's equaling the main battery, which for this game tends to be, that's a little bit high. In real life, I don't think this was all that unusual, but I very rarely am able to match my gun armor with my artillery armament unless I go undergunned on the ships. So 12-inch belt armor should be very strong. 2.5-inch deck belt extended, I don't know. I mean, that's over parts of the ship that aren't vital, so hopefully that's adequate. The deck armor is 2.5, which is to prevent against plunging fire. Frankly, at this time, that may be getting a little bit thin because other nations presumably are going to start building much heavier guns that are going to outrange us. So that may be a little bit risky, but it's all I could really afford in the weight department. Deck extended 2, conning tower 12, equaling the main armament. Turrets 10, turret top 2.5, secondaries 4. The secondaries are all in casemates because I haven't developed the technology yet to allow me to have turret-focused secondaries unless I go super heavy guns. But there's a lot of them. So we've got 24 guns, 5 and 3-inchers, and then we've got 12 main 12-inch guns. So while the calibers are light, that's actually a very strong broadside. If I go broadside on, I've got 12 guns that I can fling weight at the enemy with, and that should help even the odds a bit just with the sheer number of shells I can bring to bear. A 12-gun broadside at this stage is pretty strong. Usually they're around 8 to 10 guns. So hopefully that makes up for a little bit of the lacking weight behind the shell power. You see there's 4 turrets there. The rear turret super firing, so we can fire all 6 at any target where these can bear. The front is obviously able to fire kind of anywhere it can bear. The center line turret can only fire broadside on, so we've really got to be turned to broadside. But if we're running away, at least we've got 6 guns we can shoot at the enemy while we run. There's no torpedo defense. We have developed it, but it's just too much weight. I need larger docks to be able to build any better. And I have put a little bit more emphasis on speed, so this makes 21 knots, which is a knot faster than the Pride of the South class, 2 knots faster than the THG class. While it's not fast by any means, it will be fast within the realm of our battle line and our other warships, so it'll be able to outpace anything else we have. So, essentially it's kind of that idea of running away from a bear. If we get into a fight that we don't want to fight, this warship may not have to outrun all of the enemy ships. It just has to be able to outrun the rest of the Confederate Navy, leaving the rest of the Confederate Navy to die and kind of running away to survive while the rest of the Navy kind of dies to buy it time. Or at least that's my theory. We'll see how it works out in practice. Hopefully we won't see how it works out in practice for a little while, though, because it's going to take a couple years to build and tensions are low across the board. So we're going to go ahead and build some of these THG ships. They take $2.7 million, which is more than we have, but we're going to build 2 of them anyway, and we'll kind of pause on and off. We'll also have to pay $5 million because it's the first ship of this class, so I'm assuming there's like tooling and other things that you've got to buy to allow you to design a new class. So you can see there we spend $5 million right up front. It cuts into our funds. We've got $12 million in the bank. Building 2 of these at the same time will leave us a negative balance of $3.8 million, but that should be alleviated a little bit by the fact that one of the THGs and the Pride of the Souths will both be done in 3 to 4 months, which should nicely coincide to when we run out of money, unless tensions go up, in which case we'll get more money. So we're building 2 new battleships of the THG Jr class. My sort of end goal as the Confederacy, I think the ideal end state would be to have 8 dreadnoughts / battle cruisers. I mean, our naval budget's so small, we can't compete with anybody else. But as our wars against the British and French have shown, they're going to struggle to bring their entire fleet to bear into the sort of Western Hemisphere in the first place. The real risk from us being overwhelmed with enemy naval power is the United States, because France and Great Britain have global empires that they're going to have to divert naval forces to protect in the event of a war. So they'll never bring their entire battle fleet against us. But the United States might. And that's the real risk. With that being said, we are in January of 2010. Let's go ahead and move forward 1 month, and let's see if anything happens. THG under construction could be completed with our best fire control. This will add 1 month to construction time, yes. We also developed hydraulic rammers, which improves rate of fire. Anti-submarine warfare Q ships, so we now can use them in the AMC classes in anti-submarine warfare roles. Industrial production is going to actually help our budget. Germany wants to sell us reliable delay fuses for $4.8 million. I need the technology, but I can't afford to buy it right now. So we're going to go ahead and wait. We'll go ahead and move 1 more month. Great Britain is sounding us about an alliance. The president thinks this can make it possible to save on defense expenditures. What is your response? This is an excellent idea. Between us, we can safeguard our interests. It would be better to call up an international disarmament conference to reduce tensions, or we will be stronger alone, unencumbered by alliances that may heighten tensions. I'm okay with an alliance. I don't want to fight the British again. So we now have an alliance with both the British and the Japanese, interestingly enough. So that also, I think, reduces our naval budget by about $6 million, which gives us immediately into some financial binds. We've got 2 ships that should be done within about a month. So what I'll do to kind of help with funding is I'm going to go ahead and halt the Georgia as well as the THG Jr for just a month until some of these other ships start completing. All right, so our alliance that we had been talking about with Japan just went away. It expired. I guess there's some sort of time limit on that. Meanwhile, our other 2 new ships completed, so we're now in the black by about $3 million. We'll go ahead and resume some of the ships now. Still a little bit in the red, but at least we can kind of get these guys going. We've got the Florida done in 4 months, and then at that point, I think we'll look into building some new classes of other vessels, like maybe some new destroyers, because we are a little bit out of date, and pretty much the rest of our fleet. Additionally, I'll probably look at scrapping some of these guys. The 2 of the Braxton Braggs are already in the reserve fleet. And actually, now that we completed 2 new battleships, these guys are obsolete. They're taking up $100,000. We're just going to go ahead and scrap them. We get a little bit of scrapping money for them as well. So we went ahead and scrapped those 2. Meanwhile, the Braxton Bragg and the Alabama, we're going to go ahead and put them in the reserve fleet because they may not be technically obsolete, but they are. They're 13,000-ton pre-dreadnought battleships here. These guys are obsolete. So they're in the reserve fleet. That gets us in a little bit better financial situation. Meanwhile, all these light cruisers are in the reserve fleet, and the heavy cruisers, some of the heavy cruisers are also in the reserve fleet. I'm really debating rebuilding the Rappahannock class. I have no battle cruisers, but these guys can make up to 25 knots in a rebuild I kind of toyed around with. They've got a lot of experience. They've got elite crews. They've got 9-inch guns, which are some of our few guns which aren't -1 quality. I may rebuild these guys. I could also rebuild the Alexandria because it has 10-inch guns, and that's like the one. I think that's another gun class that I actually have quality guns. 9 inches I don't. 10 inches I do. So actually, the Rappahannock or the Alexandria might make some sense to rebuild too. I just don't know how much faster I can make it because really speed is key. In both of our wars, especially against the French, we learned that our ships were far slower than the enemy, which really hindered our ability to decide how the engagement would be fought. So let's take a look here. Yeah, and Rule the Waves 2, Grim, I think it's supposed to come out later this year. I don't know exactly when, but obviously the sooner the better, right? Okay, so all these obsolete ships are in the reserve fleet already. They could be useful as raiders or whatever in the event of a war. It's just a question of whether it makes sense to keep them on our naval budget books. Submarines, I think we've got the 50 completed. So it's a pretty strong sub-fleet. They're reasonably reliable. There's a few older ones in here. They're all coastals, though, which is weird because even though we've got a design advantage in subs, we haven't been able to design anything except coastal submarines, which to me is a little bit odd. I'm going to go ahead and spend $3.2 million to build some larger docks so we can build bigger ships. We can afford that right now, and then let's go ahead and move forward to the next turn. All right, so we're going to add a month to the Florida to give it the best fire control. One of our major shipyards is short on orders and is offering to build another battleship of the THG Jr class in 30 months at a 10% discount. We'll take that offer. Limit the Tennessee. Major arms firm wants to sell ships to South American country. This will be good for our arms industry, but risks leaking sensitive technology. What's your recommendation? Strong arms industry is the foundation of a strong navy. Allow it? No, we can't risk it. So we actually get more budget. So I'm not a technology leader, so let's allow it and get a little bit more money for it. All right, we're a little bit in the red, but we've got the Florida coming off the ways in 2 months. British government wants to sell us the right to light cruiser armor configuration. 3.4 million. Yes. Our scientists have made and now have a grasp of light cruiser armor configuration. Enables light cruiser armor configuration. Okay, whatever the hell that means. Torpedo protection 2 is now available as well. Right, so we're going to go ahead and halt the Georgia, which somehow is 2 months ahead of everybody else. New cruiser from France has just arrived on a goodwill visit, and the press is only too eager to report on all of its advanced features. One reporter approaches you for a comment. What do you say? Ask the politicians if you want to know why we don't have this ship like that. It hurts our prestige but gives us more money. It's certainly a nice ship, but ours are just as good. This is the best. Yeah! Let's insult those French. All right, come on, ship, finish. There's a rebellion in Russian possession of Sakhalin. What's your recommendation? Support the rebels. It's in the interest of all nations that the conflict is resolved peacefully. Help Russia root out the rebels. Yeah, support them rebels. Superimposed B turret. Okay, so more superimposed turret technology, some bursting shell technology. Another ship's coming online, so we'll go ahead and resume this. So we're building 3 of the THG Jr class ships at 26,000 tons. We've got 2 battleships in service now with 3 building. That gives us a much better sort of comparison with much of the rest of the world. The real area that we're now behind, especially Russia, where the tensions are the highest, and also France, is the battlecruiser area. Although we're ahead of France in battleships, so that may even out at least with the French. But the battle cruisers were pretty damn far behind because we haven't built any. Yeah, my budget is pretty damn bad. Like, trying to compete with any of these other countries, building anything is just a nightmare. All right, so reserve fleets. Of course, just Eastport, just a lone cruiser design with 6-inch guns. More or less a commerce raider, right? All right. So at the completion of the 2 additional THGs, I'm actually going to go ahead and scrap the remaining Braxton Braggs. Get a little bit of money, scrap those 2 ships. And then the Virginia class, I'm actually going to go ahead, and they've got 16 6-inchers, but they're in double turrets, which is nice. These actually, I kind of like them. The problem is they're so damn slow. We've also got the THGs, which are these just behemoth, slow-ass pre-dreadnoughts. I'm going to go ahead and reserve fleet the 4 Virginias. Save us a little bit of money. Again, sort of this is a gradual upgrading process of the fleet. So, Alexander's not obsolete yet. All of these ships I'd like to rebuild. Like, why does my whole fleet have to be in reserve status? And reserving destroyers doesn't really do us any good anyway, because they're already so cheap. Presumably you need a few active light cruisers, right? Right, so the mid-level, the new 10 light cruisers here, these are all kind of active. The Tallahassee class are all reserved. I have no money. I'm not going to have any money anytime soon because these ships aren't completed for 27 months. I guess we can scrap some of our older, less efficient submarines. Saves us a little bit of money. Scrapped 11 of them, but they're all, the reliability factors on those are all under 50, so these guys are much more effective subs. I mean, I can get by with my current budget for a while. I would just like to be able to build some new ship designs, like a new light cruiser class or some new destroyers or whatnot, but none of that is true right now. We've just got to kind of power on through. The rebellion in Sakhalin continues. I wonder if our participation in the rebellion can be exposed. Wow, the rebellion in Sakhalin has defeated the Russian forces. It has now declared its independence. French government's offering to sell us an economizer for 4.6 million. Yeah, I'm always up for buying new technology. It does put us in the red a bit. Go ahead and halt one of these ships for a month. Resume. All right, so our budget is balanced, but we're going the Royal Navy interwar route of only building capital ships, which is going to come back to bite us for sure at some point. I just don't know what I can do about it. I mean, I could cut research budgets down, but that seems like a bad idea. We're very far advanced down the ship design section at level 10. Just funny because it's a medium research priority. Meanwhile, like, our fleet tactics are incredibly archaic. We've only advanced 3 levels there. Our gun technology hasn't gone anywhere either, despite it being a high priority. I think for this, maybe what we do in our machinery development is level 8 despite low priority. Now, some of that I think is because we've bought a lot of machinery. Armor development, kind of flat. Honestly, I think we'll just re-medium everything and then look back at how maybe we want to change that. So if everything was medium, where do we need work? So obviously we need work with fleet tactics and guns. Those need to be high. I feel like anything below 5 should be made a high priority to kind of balance things out and get us back in the game. Anything, and then we'll put low priority on anything 8 or above. So low priority on machinery development at this point, and ship design, because they're both at 10, and maybe also submarine. Well, here's the thing. It's like we've got so many subs, I think we keep that at medium. So those two will be on high, or actually several items are on high. I guess we'll drop guns to... No, we really need better guns. Ah! I want to drop this to low. Fire control is also really critical. Yeah, no, we'll leave that as is. Okay. Training could probably be reduced. That would save us a little bit of money, but... let's see. Let's design a new destroyer. It's been a while. What can we design? We can design destroyers with up to 900 tons. Make 31 knots. Wow. But I'd rather have... Oh, we can't have more than 1 torpedo tube yet in our mounts. We haven't developed that technology. All right. Make them 5-inch guns. 29 knots. Like more torpedo tube. Too many centerline and gun torpedo tube mount. Only have 2? Really? Alright, then I guess we've got to do starboard, port, broadside swivel mounts. How's that too many centerline torpedo mounts? I don't understand. I have another destroyer that has 4 torpedoes. They're not all on the center line? Oh, gun and torpedo mounts. That's the issue. Okay. So this would be okay. We'd have 4 torpedoes, 3 torpedo broadside, essentially. I kind of wonder... Ah! This. We could make the ship a little bit overweight if we... So then it would have a 4 torpedo broadside. It would have the center line, and it would have 2 broadsides. I don't know if this would get in the way of firing or not. I'm assuming not, otherwise that'd be an illegal design. So what we'll do is we'll have 2 4-inch guns, aft and forward. That gives us okay weight. 29 knots, which seems like a reasonable speed to me. So 29 knots, 2 4-inch guns, and 6 torpedo tubes. I like that design. We're gonna name it after the illustrious channel follower J Street. So if this class fails J Street, it's all on you. Okay. Go to the build dialog, 900 tons. How much is it going to cost to build? $250,000. So naturally, we can only afford to build like 2 of them. We'll do build 10. Yes, that's going to put us way into the red. We'll go down here. We're going to get rid of some of our older destroyers. Well, we really don't have that many destroyers to get rid of. All these guys have short range. Is this guy a medium range destroyer too? Wow. Didn't even realize I was doing that. Alright. How do we save the money? These guys are all reserved. We're going to need to replace these. We're going to mothball these. I really don't think these destroyers are going to have much, or cruisers are going to have much value for us. That didn't save us much. We're going to go ahead and reserve fleet both of these guys. Saves us a little bit. No money. Still no money. The damn submarine. Well, no, I don't even think they only cost 20 grand. Guess we'll get rid of everything on these older ones too, because they only have 52 reliability. We still got a lot of subs. Like, I think we still have the largest submarine fleet at 32. And it's not even really close. So that's our setup right now. I mean, frankly, you don't need, like, I guess I'm fine with these guys being in the reserve fleet. They're brand new ships. Whatever. We'll have all our battleships except the dreadnoughts in the reserve fleet. Same for all our cruisers. Light cruisers are mothballed. Other light cruisers, these guys will be active because they're the ones that are going to kind of go around, sail around, and do like ports of call and stuff. Minesweepers we probably don't need at all. I mean, I'm not going to scrap them, but I'll mothball them because they're really more or less coastal patrol once a war starts. And maybe I'll just pause one of the THG classes. Hate the idea of doing that. Definitely gets us into the black. German government wants to buy the rights to reliable bursting charges. By all means, give us some damn money. I need it. Right, we'll go ahead and resume these guys. And we'll kind of move forward for a little bit. AP projectiles. New docks are completed. One of our major shipyards is short on orders. We just laid down 10 destroyers. We want to build another destroyer of the J Street class in 10 months at a 10% discount. Yeah, I'll take that. Government's concerned about tensions leading to war. You've been called to give advice. What do you recommend? International Disarmament Conference? You want peace, arm for war. Yes, give me more money. There you go, guys. Our budget is actually quite a bit higher now as tensions start to go up. There you have it, folks. If you want peace, prepare for war, and that's what I've been doing this entire episode. Not a ton of excitement, no shooting, no firing, but a couple of ships designed, and some toggling back and forth of budgetary resources. That's going to do it here for episode 7 of the Confederate Let's Play series of Rule the Waves. So far, things are going relatively smoothly. We've fought a couple of wars, we've gained some provinces, and we're in the process of rebuilding our fleet and modernizing our fleet, but we will continue this in our next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and obviously feel free to leave your thoughts below. But until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm out.